on a number of things. First of all, my wife, she's done a lot of the doctor stuff. She's been to the doctors, been to a specialist at Kolibu main hospital in Ghana. She's had a report written and done the test. Now she's got to go to another doctor, take this report, and then they'll give medication, more specific medication. Um, so hopefully she's going to be okay. Um, so after Christmas she'll be going with this report to another doctor, her own doctor. That she's gone to the specialist. Now she'll go to the doctor. They'll read the report and give her the medication required. But it's mainly about a loss of blood. Um, I can't go into any more detail than that. It's private. So I want to thank everybody for prayers about that, if people wondering what's happening. Secondly, UK trip. I'm just waiting. Any day now I could be going to UK, but I'm just waiting whether I can go or not, how things go concerning my trip to UK. Just to say that my family supported me in that one. People supported my wife with the medical bill there, particularly from America, so we appreciate that. My family sent me the money to come to UK, but I'm also needing to go to see my mother, who's had a heart attack a few weeks ago, and a lot of other things there as well. But I know it's tough for everybody. I know it's a struggle for everybody, but I wouldn't have to go as well if I was getting more support here. So if you could support me and my wife, whatever you send, I'll be sending to my wife. On Patreon, not PayPal, but on Patreon. I can't access PayPal for some reason at the moment, but Patreon. We need to buy land. We need to rent a house in Winnaby and do all the things of mission work. We need more supporters, and we need to buy land to start a missionary society, mission station. So please, if you can donate to these projects, we'd be very, very grateful. We need monthly supporters. We need help to be able to rent a house for a year or two while we get the mission station built. So please, if you could pray about it. I know it's difficult. I know you're facing challenges, but if there's anybody out there, and please support us. And also anything you give us we'll be using for the kids and all sorts of things. So please pray about that. This is more important than anything. Mission work, establishing the gospel, training leaders is more important than anything, and it's an investment in Africa. So pray about it and support the work. I've been studying a few things recently. I've been studying a bit about Islam and the Quran recently, looking at the ancient sources. I was shocked reading that the hadiths. I've been reading scholars, a lot of scholars on the hadiths. And a lot of these hadiths that they use to know about the life of Muhammad, many of them are fabrication. Many of them have been doctored by political factions, people who were against Ali or for Ali, doctored and made up these traditions that are just made up. And Ibn Ishaq was at least 100 years after Muhammad. He's the first biographer, and then the next biographer of him is 150 years. And even Ibn Ishaq's biography, we don't have the original, it's in another person's writing. So the sources are way, way far away from Muhammad to be even really credible concerning eyewitnesses. And many of these hadiths are fabrication. And I've been studying a lot of scholars, and I'm shocked to see that the Islamic world is lying to the Muslims about the hadith. The chain of narration is just fabrication upon fabrication. Next thing I've been reading is the life of Abraham Kuyper, this Dutch reform guy in Holland. It's been fascinating to read about his life. He was a prime minister, he was a pastor, he was a head of a university in Holland around about 1901. What I find encouraging him, I did made a video years ago about him, and I wasn't impressed, and I was pretty derogatory of him, but recently I've been impressed that he wanted to bring everything under the consecration of Christ, under the authority of Christ. And we have to bring the Lordship of Christ into every area of life. And so look up Abraham Kuyper. I also been reading about Vantil and his understanding of the Trinity, and it's been a fascinating read. I've read the understanding of the Trinity from Charles Hodge, which uses a common sense argument for Christianity. Then the Amsterdam theologians, Abraham Kuyper and Herman Bavinck, where they used more of a presuppositionalist defense of Christianity. And then about Hegel and the philosopher there who was an idealist, and how idealism was saying that the particulars of life cannot be understood without a universal. And Vantil took this and he brought the Trinity into it. And he was basically saying, look, the particulars of life don't make sense unless we have a universal, and that universal is the Trinity. Now some people might say, well, why don't we use the universal of Allah? Well, the answer to that is because within the Trinity there is a completeness. The personality of God will be lost if the personality is not tripersonal, because the tripersonality indicates the personality of God. But if you say God is one and is not tripersonal, it actually loses the personality of God, because it becomes nebulous, far away, and you don't really know him. So Vantil's understanding of the Trinity has been fascinating and tremendous. I've really been profoundly affected by reading him and about him. It's been tremendous. I want to read Psalm 107 and encourage you. Now some of you are saying, yes, well done, brother. There's one or two people saying, oh, why do you keep making politic videos and everything? Well, I'm just concerned. I've not lost my passion for preaching the gospel, but I'm deeply concerned, and I feel that people are not speaking out, and I do feel that we need to speak out when evil reigns. But I haven't lost my passion for the gospel and the things of the Word of God. I'm here to lecture in theology. I'm here to plant churches. I'm here to train pastors. That's my job. I'm not here as a politician. I'm coming back to UK as a pastor, as a theologian, as a lecturer in theology. But we have to speak out sometimes. So I hear one or two people lamenting, he's doing it again, politics, he's lost his way. Well, no. These things need to be spoken. Psalm 107, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he has redeemed from the hand of the enemy, and gathered out of the from the east and the west, from the north and the south. They wandered in the wilderness in desolate way. They found no city to dwell in. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted in them. Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them out of their distress, and he led them forth by the right way, that they might go to a city for a dwelling place. Oh, that men would give thanks to the Lord for his goodness, and for his wonderful works to the children of men. For he satisfies the longing soul, and fills the hungry soul with goodness. I know it's a trial for you at the moment in some places, but I want you to know that as you cry out to God, God is with you. Those who sat in darkness and in the shadow of death, bound in affliction and iron, Psalm 107, verse 11, because they rebelled against the words of God, despised the counsel of the Most High, therefore he brought down their heart with labor. They fell down, and there was none to help. Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distress. You're finding it hard to run your business. You're finding it hard to get through life. Cry out to God, and God will meet your need where you're at. He brought them out of darkness and the shadow of death, and broke their chains in places. Oh, that men would give thanks to the Lord for his goodness, and for his wonderful works to the children of men. You need to get to God and rest in God at this time. The world is in convulsion. The world is going crazy. But we need to go into the presence of God. Oh, that men would give thanks to the Lord for his goodness, for his wonderful works to the children of men. For he has broken the gates of bronze, and cut the bars of iron in two. Fools, because of their transgression and because of their iniquities, were afflicted. Their soul abhorred all manner of food, and they drew near to the gates of death. Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distress. And he sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their destruction. God could take away this coronavirus tonight if he wanted to, but he's leaving it for us to seek his face. Verse 21, oh, that men would give thanks to the Lord for his goodness, for his wonderful works to the children of men. Let his works with rejoicing. Those who go down to the sea in ships, who do business on great waters, they see the works of the Lord and his wonders in the deep. For he commands and raises the stormy wind, which lifts up the waves of the sea. They mount up to the heavens, and they go down again to the depths. The source of trouble, they reel to and fro and stagger like drunken men. Are you out of your wits' end? Your wits' end, you're wondering how you can cope at this point of time. You're wondering how you can cope. Well, cry out to God. Cry out to Jesus Christ. In Psalm 961, I think it says, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. And he's on about, when he says, lead me to the rock that is higher than I, the Jordan would often flood. And it would often flood, and the only place for refuge would be if you got onto a rock. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Then they cried out to the Lord, Psalm 107, verse 28. Then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he brings out of their distress. He calms the storm so that its waves are still. Then they are glad because they are quiet, so he guides them to their desired haven. In verse 33, he turns rivers into wilderness, and the water springs into dry ground, a fruitful land into barrenness, for the wickedness of those who dwell in it. He turns a wilderness into pools of water, and dry land into water springs. God will make a way for you in the desert, and make a way for you in the storm. He is there with you. He will help you. He will make a way, so trust in him. Do not be discouraged. Do not get down. If you are at your wit's end, flee to Jesus Christ and trust in him. That old hymn, take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to thee. Take my moments and my days and let them flow in ceaseless praise. That person who wrote that was Frances Ridley Havergal, who spent her time as an invalid, much of her time in. And not be discouraged. If you're at your wit's end, rest and trust in him. So let me encourage you, those who are Muslims today, to remember, so pray for my wife as she takes that report to the doctor after Christmas, that the medicine will be effective. Pray for my trip to UK. If I'm supposed to go, that I'll be able to get there. If not, may the door close. Pray that would be okay. But when I get to my destination, I'm going to be stranded. So it's not going to be easy to get to Manchester, so please pray. Pray for this mission work. Please, I beg of you, please pray. Please pray. And if you can support us, I pray, please support us. Patreon at the top. We need to buy the land here. We need to move out. We need to rent a house in Winnowby. We need the finances of supporters every month that will back us. We need that to do the mission work here. So I pray that you would pray to God about supporting Africa Without Borders. We will do the work if you give us the tools. You give us the tools, we'll go and do the work. So please support this work. Pray about it and ask the Lord if this is a work that you want to support. We need to buy the land. We need to rent a house. We need other things which I'm not going to tell you about. Let the Lord speak to you what we need. And please pray that you get behind the work. If you're a Muslim, just remember that the hadiths, many of them are fabricated. There is no such thing as a chain of narration. It's a chain of fabrication. Many of these hadiths were created out of political animosity for or against Ali. Simple as. Even the criteria of collecting the hadiths were arbitrary. Each hadith collector collected them in different ways, showing that it was arbitrary. It wasn't based on a fundamental basic principles of good historical inquiry. If you need to pick your way through these times, read the life of Abraham Kuyper. Go on to PDF Drive, Google Abraham Kuyper, and his life will come up, his biography. Read his life, and it will help you to think through the times that we're living in, both spiritually theologically, politically, it will really help you to read that biography, because history repeats itself. And if you read that biography, you'll see a lot of things repeating themselves in our time. So read the life of Abraham Kuyper. I encourage you this Christmas to either buy yourself a biography, and it will inspire you, it will encourage you, it will strengthen you in your faith. And then Vantil. Those who struggle with the Trinity, is it a contradiction and incarnation? If you read Vantil, it's not easy reading, but if you read books about him or you read him, you'll find immense comfort and encouragement and help in dealing with these nitty problems of the Trinity and the incarnation. Because let me tell you something, as you go into theology and philosophy, there are some deep things to think about. When you read Vantil, he helps you through it. My faith has been strengthened and enriched by reading and thinking about Vantil and the Trinity. It's really helped me, and it's equipped me more to deal with the Muslims than ever before. So let me encourage you, those who are struggling with the issue of the Trinity and the incarnation, I recommend a couple of days ago on Islam Exposed or Examined, Islam and the Quran Exposed and Examined. It's about 2-3 videos down. I recommend a book there. Go and get that book. You can get it free on PDF drive. It will really bless you. And remember, when you're at your wit's end, God is sovereign. Flee to him. May it be a blessing to you.